All right, we've returned to the foundation. I believe that the ground is frozen. It's like 10 days later. This time I brought my digging dog Mac with me, so he will keep me company. We're going to see if we can continue the search here, see if we can get some more history to hold right in our hand, and we'll keep on going. See you at the first hole.
Metal detecting. It's full of adventure, full of planning, for some camaraderie.
Ready, Ryan?
Oh yeah.
It's full of elation, frustration, and even inspiration. People do it for all sorts of different reasons. Me, I just want to hold a little history in the hand.
Brass? Oh my gosh. The ground is still frozen up here. My goodness. Oh, come on. It makes me... I'm initiating a brand new brush today. Almost thought I saw initials or something here, but that's not true. Don't know what this would have been. Perhaps a cigarette case or something. But that's cool. That's where the hinges were. That's neat. We are up in pretty much in the clouds today. We're about 2,100 feet. All right. What do you think, Mackie? All right, on to the next. We found a cigarette case. Well, this doesn't give me very much confidence that the ground is thawed. What do you think? A little piece of copper. All right. Here is a rifle shell. More than likely, somebody took a stand right here on this foundation and shot at a deer someplace down here. I would say that aside from pull tabs, that probably bullet shells are my most common find here. This area is it's a sportsman's area. There's lots of camps, hunting camps and things. Between that and the fact that people hunted for their sustenance, there's lots of bullet shells. There is a beautiful old shotgun shell. Remington UMC 12 gauge. Sure shot. I could probably look that up, but it's from the old paper shell days. Paper's long gone. All right, on to the next. All right, what did we find, Mackie, huh? What did we find? Well, that's what we found. A big brass hose connector. No wonder we got such a screaming high tone, huh? On to the next. Ooh. Hey. That's a spoon handle. Ooh, and it's old too. Real old. Lead pewter. I believe they stopped making these in the 1820s. Not that people stopped using them then, but they were very weak. Every time they bent and got bent back, they got weaker and weaker. So you can understand how after a while they would break off and get chucked right out the window. Look how the edge has just been eaten away. Yep. Boy, that's old. Love it. That is history right in our hand. Got pretty excited about a possible quarter, but it was just this old, looks like an old salt shaker lid. Yep. Please pass the salt. On to the next. Absolutely screaming high tone right here. and that's why. And that is why. Lots of brass. Okay, well, let us keep on going. Hi, Mackie. What did we find, huh? Ah, a handle to a spigot. There's the little square hole. Cool. Well, at least we're finding lots of brass, huh? Let's keep going. On to the next. Have we found another part of what we found earlier? What in the world would have these holes be brass? All right, somebody must know something about this. If you happen to be watching this video and you have an inkling about what this is, please let me know. Where is that other? Did this have anything? No. Nope. Two different things. Never mind. I don't know. All right. Mystery. On to the next. Well, we found another one. Another part of a kerosene lamp. This would be the combustion chamber. This wasn't a huge lamp. This would have been probably a very small, more like a candle than a lamp. But very cool. On to the next. And in keeping with our theme, another lamp wick combustion chamber. So it was well illuminated. On to the next. Oh, I'll bite. Probably some tiny little nail. Whatever it is. There it is. It's an old pistol cartridge. Oh well. On to the next. There's the top of a little, probably a coffee pot or teapot. There would have been a handle right there. That's the second one I've found. The other one was copper. That's neat. On to the next. We found gold. There it is, right there. Ah, boy, that must have been fancy. Ah, I wonder who sat at dinner with the fancy glass. Not a Morgan silver dollar. Same shape. On to the next. Well, that was worth digging. That's a Conestoga wagon bell. And it's in beautiful shape. That's just gorgeous. And I am guessing that the horses stood here. There's the foundation right up there. So, just gorgeous. Look at that. There's where the wire would have held it in place. So this was one of a tuned set of wagon bells. Some of them were actually on the wagon, but most of them were on a little strap that came up off of the horse's harness, and they were suspended off of a little strap, and they would ring as the horses went along. So absolutely beautiful. That's a great find. I'm glad we came back in here. That's just beautiful. All right, on to the next. Let's see if we can get it to ring. So, right over there a Conestoga wagon bell from the 1800s. Right here, a side view mirror. All right. Ooh. I think that this may have been, no. I was trying to make it into a step. And it may have been a step up onto a step onto a wagon or a buggy. It almost seems like that kind of shape to me. Not sure. If you know, let me know. Meanwhile, on to the next. Screamer. And that's why. Yeah, another brass fitting. All right, on to the next. Yeah, good boy, Mac. We found something here. Mason jar lid. All right, on to the next. All right, so this throws off, well, it doesn't necessarily throw off. This looks like a doorbell plate, which would have been used with electric, and that means that this place was still functional. And I guess we found some other things that would give away that it was functional after electricity would have come. This probably was the front of the house. It would have looked up towards the road. So that's what I'm thinking. So, all right, on to the next. A little later, I'll go down and check the corners and check the walls just to make sure that there's no gold coins buried in the, hidden in the foundation. So here we are in the corner, and get a load of this. That is interesting. I think I might investigate that. I'm gonna build this up so that rock stays up there. Yeah. I'm gonna take this out. What do we have, if anything? Oh, that's what we have. A brass ring. All right, let's see if we can put this back together again. All right, not gold coins, but it was exciting for a minute, wasn't it? We got what sounds like a penny right here on the corner. Of the house. That doesn't mean that's what it is, but it sure would be great if it was. So far, nothing but rusty nails. Gosh, we're getting close to the surface. But there is what looks to be a coin. But I can see right now that it is a wheat cent. Because there's the 1 cent right there. But at least we found a coin. Our first for coming back in here. 1939, possibly. Gosh, I shake a lot. Must have drank a lot of coffee. Cool. All right, on to the next. All right, I'm getting a quarter tone right here. And how wonderful would it be if it actually was a quarter?
Of course, there's no shortage of rocks. I'm beginning to doubt that it is
a quarter. Yeah, that's why. It's a Rains guide, believe it or not. But that's still a cool thing. And you can see where the rains, as they went through here, wore it a little bit. That's great. Cool beans. Ooh, that was chromed. That would have been fancy. Somebody pimped their ride. All right, not a quarter. On to the next. Wow. Well, this is what the high tone was all about. My only guess would be that this was a decorative bridal rosette for horse tack. I can see how, and of course this would have been shiny brass, and that would have been sparkly. You can kind of see how it has been decoratively angled to reflect in different ways. My guess is that's what it was, and so this would have had a bar coming off, and this would have been on the side of the horse's head, and it was just there for decorative purposes, really, kind of like hubcaps on a car. I think that's what it was. And here in front of the house, I can see how a horse would have been standing here, maybe shaking his head violently to get flies off or something, and this thing just went flying. But oh, that's neat. That is indeed a little bit of history right in our hand, and it was in a hole with about 30 nails. So I'm going to stop looking now that I've found what the high tone was. On to the next. Well, there we have, apparently, it is tea time. We found a teapot. Wow. That is a little bit worse for wear. On to the next. And what would a day be like here in the mountains of Pennsylvania without finding a great big flat bullet? We're heading over to the barn, see if we can find some more glass eggs. There is a very old brass valve stem, probably from some sort of farm implement in the early days. I mean, there's one there that is not rubber tires, but that one up there does have primitive rubber tires. There's the barn bridge that went into the second floor of the barn. So I just thought somebody might have dropped a coin out of their pocket, or we might have found some sleigh bells or something here. Well, I'm getting hungry, so I'm going home for lunch. But the cloud ceiling has risen today, so that will free up a higher elevation spot that I would like to go to. I discovered it last summer, and Matt got into a porcupine, unfortunately. So I'm going back there to see what I can find. I discovered a beautiful foundation. So let's take a look at what we found here in this second iteration. This is the housewares department. We have lighting over here with our lamp parts. We have our teapot, various and sundry lids. Here's the doorbell. All right, here is a lead pewter spoon handle. We found two kind of mystery items. This, I'm pretty sure, was a cigarette case, and I wonder if it's not I wonder if that's like gold plated, because that came up beautiful and the brass didn't. Then we move over to horse and carriage. So here's our Rains Guide and our beautiful Conestoga bell. Here's a couple of lids, including a salt shaker. There's our doorbell. And then I guess this would go up with horse stuff. This would be a bridle rosette. Then over here is plumbing. We have various and sundry fixtures and a handle. And down here is firearms related stuff. So there's I found a ton of those. Bullet shells. Here's that wheat penny that we found. This, I think, might have been a carriage step, although I'm not sure. We'll call it automotive. And then here is the side view mirror. So, you know, not a bad haul of relics for this old place, and it shows a wide range of history from way back in the 1800s right up until after electricity came up here on this mountain. So it's kind of cool. I will invite you back next time, and I will remind you that if you're not looking for it, you are not going to find it. And we'll see you next time right here on History in the Hand.